In this video, we're going to debunk and go through one of the most common misconceptions with Base44 apps. That is, how can I have an app that is private and safe for my users to use, whilst also having public-facing pages? The most common example of this is users stating that it is simply not possible to have a secure app whilst having a landing page. But this also presents itself when enterprises want to have secured data and staff portal access whilst also having publicly visible pages and the ability for staff to register themselves. Before we do anything in this tutorial, I'm going to show something that most users will know, but a large portion of users come into our social community platforms not knowing, is that you really need to be utilizing the publish feature. Don't be scared of it. It's not terrifying. Basically, this is first prompt. It's just finished. I've not done anything else. And the first thing I will do on every single project is press publish app and get it onto the internet. No one's able to find this without the link, and you don't have anything to worry about with your app being sort of available and out there. It's a part of the whole process, and if you don't do this, you're susceptible to run into quite a few issues down the line with things not having been published. So first things first, absolutely every single app you make on Base will come out of the box with app visibility set to public, require login to access. Now, on paper, this makes perfect sense, especially if you're making something for a business or something private or something you don't want the internet to see. This seems correct. And if it's not correct, and you look at the options we have available to us, you'd think that the most logical option for an app that you deem sensitive, but you want people to see and use, that you're sort of hand-picking, would be to go private. So the two options that people think, and the reason this confusion is apparent, is that they think their two options are pretty much private or public required login to access, because having this unchecked would mean they can't sign up, right? Well, no. In pretty much 99% of use cases, you're going to be wanting to immediately set this to this exact setup here. Public, and then no requirement of login to access. The reason we do this is not immediately obvious, but the login page of every single application that you have through Base is just the link /login, okay? And this will always take you to that login page. No matter the configuration of this tab, you will always get to this exact page that cannot be edited in any way, shape or form ever by anybody in this current date, which is the 8th of December 2025. This must never be touched and is always accessible by typing /login at the end of the app link. And the reason that this is safe to do it, because inherently it looks unsafe by having the app be open to the public, is because of RLS. RLS is row-level security. It's in the dashboard security tab on all of your apps. And it's especially relevant to what we're talking about right now, because it's how we control how users can see things and interact with things. So whilst this app is currently completely open to the world and requires no login to access because of the button that we've set, we can very easily prompt the AI to restrict the entire app to only be accessible by someone that's signed up with a user role. Now, in essence, doing this is essentially creating the same setup that we have when we have public require login to access. Because what we can do here is we can say, please implement a landing page for our app that allows users to log in or sign up at /login, utilizing our app's existing theme. Please ensure that all pages, bar the landing page, are then secured behind row-level security that forces pages to be required to be logged in to view them, else redirecting them back to the landing page, and forcing landing page to be completely inaccessible to all logged-in users, immediately redirecting them back to the dashboard if navigated to. Now, what we've done here is we have created a page that has a specific set of security rules. If you are a non-logged in user, you are unable to access the app. You are essentially restricted by the standard means of public require login to access. You are not able to get to /dashboard. It would always take you to the landing page. And if you are a logged in user and you try to navigate to the landing page, you would automatically be redirected to the dashboard, essentially creating a fake version of the public required login to access, but this time we have access to a swanky landing page. Final configuration change to make all of this work is to change the main page settings. However, the main page settings will not show the newly created landing page until you do a full refresh. So if we do a full refresh now and then drop down on the main page, there should be a home in this case. That's what the AI's decided to call it. So if we change this to home and then we publish the app, we will now load straight into a landing page rather than the app itself because we are not logged in. Immediately, you'll notice a problem on the left, which is that we haven't disabled the navigation bar. This is a simple prompt. I'm not going to do it for the purpose of this video, but you can just say, please can we ensure that the nav bar is not visible to any logged out user. Now, the important thing to note here is that whilst we're on the landing page now, if we go up here and we change the link to dashboard and hit enter, we're not going to be able to access the website. It's going to immediately redirect us back to home. And if we press sign in and we go through a standard login approach, just as we would with the login required, it's going to land us happily at the dashboard, seeing everything that we want the user to be able to see. It might be initially hard to grasp, but this logic is usable in all circumstances to get around the initially proposed problem. So another example of this would be, okay, so let's use what we've taken here, but now I want to have the ability to prevent people from accessing the dashboard when they sign up. This is an extremely common problem. So with what we've just configured here, if somebody lands on the landing page for my e-commerce business, for example, and then goes to /login manually or presses a login button on the landing page, the only requirement for them to get into the app, which I don't want them to have access to, is to sign up. Because once they've signed up, they can log in, they pass those security checks, and they can hit the dashboard. Well, in cases like this, we implement a third step, and that third step is to force user onboarding. We would add a entry to the user's entity called something like has_onboarded and ensure that the dashboard requires has onboarded to be set to true. The way we then prevent anybody accessing the app is force the onboarding to be approved via an admin control panel. So whenever anybody logs into the app and completes the onboarding, they will see a awaiting approval screen until an admin has approved their onboarding. This would automatically mean that anybody and everybody that signs up to the app must go through an admin's approval to see the dashboard in all cases. This setup is required in, I would say, 99% of applications. There are obviously use cases for the other options, especially if you literally want no one other than yourself to access the data being used. However, in the two examples, which are the most common examples that I deal with on a day-to-day basis, of landing page requirements and sensitive data restriction within the application itself, hopefully this tutorial sheds some light on how you navigate that.